Good evening. Welcome to Altarina Playhouse's production of Motherhood Out Loud. I'm Katina Letheule, Artistic Director at Altarina, and also the director of this evening's performance. I am really pleased to be able to bring these one acts to you, and I feel so fortunate to have worked with this incredible cast. We had such a great time putting this together. I'd like to take a moment to thank those of you who were able to donate to watch this performance. Your support means a lot to us. If you'd like to donate, you can go to our website at altarina.org. Again, thank you so much for being here tonight. I really hope you enjoy Motherhood Out Loud.
I go into premature labor and my doctor puts me on an IV that makes me feel like I've had 56 espressos.
I'm in the back seat of a station wagon on all fours, panting like a dog.
After 2 weeks, the doctor says, I can take you off the drugs tomorrow, but if you go into labor, I'm going to be way out on exit 51 on the LIE for Thanksgiving. So if you wouldn't mind, can we wait a day?
This doctor has Ben's head by the forceps and he jumps on my belly to get a better grip.
They finally give me my epidural and a lollipop, and I'm thinking, where the fuck is the Jack Daniels?
The nurse comes in and I say, I feel something happening. She looks at the monitor on my belly and says, nope, not yet.
I'm pushing like crazy, but every time I stop, the baby gets sucked back inside because the umbilical cord is wrapped around his neck.
The nurse comes in again and I say, look, I think I'm having contractions. She checks the monitors and says, nope, not yet.
I don't know what's fucking happening to me. I didn't take any motherfucking baby class, and I think my body is going to split in two, and I start screaming.
This woman is screaming in the hall.
The nurse comes in again and I am in agony. And I say, look, lady, I'm having contractions. Another nurse comes in behind her, looks at my belly and says to her, you've got the monitor upside down.
Billions of women have done this, right?
I'm praying.
I'm panting.
I'm pushing.
He's my fifth.
My first.
My third.
Oh my God.
I think my third.
One more push.
One more.
Whatever you do, don't stop.
Here he comes.
Holy shit!
Oh, good Lord. Now what? Why won't she just get into the damn car and go? You aged 10 years on one of my mother's goodbyes, and she's in rare form today. After all, she's saying her first goodbye to her first grandchild, my 5-day-old little precious. You're in the motherhood now, my mother sings, punching my dad in the arm so that he'll come in on the chorus. You're in the motherhood club now. Your life will never be the same. Bye-bye, Mom, Dad. Yes, hey, it's been great. No, I couldn't have done it without you. Oh, I'll miss you too. No. I'll miss you more. My husband cranks the engine, and just when I think that I am finally free, my mom jumps out of the car waving a bunch of photos. Damn it, now what? Look at this picture. How many kids do you see there? 4. 4 children, that's right. Popped out, all 4 of you. No drugs, no science fiction shots in my back. Barely an ouch othered from my throat. The nurses all wanted to give me an award for being the most silent mother-to-be. And you've been making up for lost time ever since. But my point is, honey, motherhood is suffering, most times in silence, and you can't just operate the same ass backwards way anymore. Remember, Mom, I'm the one who planned for motherhood. Planning is for shit, smarty pants. God favors your child over you now, so plan on that. Your heart is about to get broken every which way but loose. Watching my mother's eyes brim with tears, I'm starting to feel like maybe her staying another day wouldn't be so bad. Mom, is there anything that I should know that maybe I haven't thought about? Wrong move. Gentlemen, close your ears. No, close them. Okay, honey, here goes. Men like to pause at the doorway, not fall through it. So whatever you've got to do, get that little doorway tight again. Swaddle the little precious, but there's an even bigger precious that needs swaddling too. Tight, if you know what I mean. It's simple, dear. Squeeze, hold, release. 4 kids and 45 years later, well, I can still hold a dumbbell up there for an hour if I have to. I've got a bladder like a steel drum. Now that's what you call a mother that's still a woman. That's it. My husband decides my sanity has been held hostage long enough. He finally gets my mom to put 2 feet in the car and whisks her and dad off to the airport, leaving me standing there waving, feeling lonelier than I ever have in my life. Bye-bye, Mom. Bye-bye. Wishing I could call her back, but I can't. So guess what I find myself doing? Squeeze, hold, release. Maybe your grandmother was right. Maybe that's the definition of motherhood. You squeeze your child and you hold on to them tight. And yes, eventually, one day you release them out into the world. But not today. No, not today. Squeeze, hold, release. Oh. Now what, Mother?
This is me, on the floor next to my baby's crib. My baby is a sleep terrorist, waking every 2 hours to sleep all day and all night long. Tonight, I am horizontal on shitty carpeting nestled between the crib and the changing table because my husband has a cold. A cold. Don't do any night feedings, I say. Rest. This made me seem like a very loving wife. But I am saving my own neck. I am not getting sick. My baby is not getting sick, and I am not getting sick. Stay the fuck away from us. I used to be an insomniac. I spent a great part of the past decade not sleeping, so I thought the sleep deprivation part of motherhood would be easy. I love 2 a.m. I'd stumble into some all-night diner after a dance club and eat French fries, or stay at home awake, enjoying the quiet. I'm a 2 a.m. kind of girl. I won't mind 4-hour nights. I could totally function off of 4 hours sleep. Fuck that. Sleep deprivation is killing me. Sometimes when I'm leaving the house, I turn to my husband and ask, do I look okay or like a crazy person? And sometimes he doesn't answer. In Mommy and Me class, I learned about something called the 4-month sleep regression. Technically, they have to be sleeping in order to regress, but whatever. So apparently, all of the progress you made over the past 4 months teaching them to sleep goes out the window, followed by crawling, and then teething, and then separation anxiety, all of which keep them awake. When do they sleep? When do I? I saw this play about Romania before the revolution. I bet those characters could sleep on this floor. Those characters, hungry and clad in all gray, would have no problem sleeping on this carpet without creature comforts. Creature comforts do not exist when you're overthrowing a communist regime. Or we're escaping Nazi Germany, crawling on all sorts of floors as we make our way to the border like the pianist and the pianist. Or camping. I've gone camping in a dense forest and the tents are inadequate and the ground is cold and there's nothing resembling a coffee shop anywhere. And oh my God, what if we get eaten by bears? If I get sick, I will kill him with these very hands. And if my baby gets sick, I will kill him and then kill myself. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. I spent the last 20 years as an adult doing whatever I wanted to do whenever I wanted to do it. And that's over. Forever. Forever, and I mean forever, will there be this tie, this thought. Where's my kid? Is my kid okay? I belong to him now. I mean, at least with my husband, I can pretend some kind of emotional autonomy. You know, that Herculean sort of two solitudes that border each other bullshit. But with my baby, no way. It is full on. He depends on me now. And I better be up to the task. Or else.
Oh, hi. Is this bench taken? Cool. Put it down, Harry. No, honey. Down, babe. The tricycle is a means of transportation. He's 3. You know, everything's a penis. Oh, God, I hate the park. You know, if anybody had told me that I'd be sentenced to 5 to 10 years in the park, I'd have stuck with a cat. This is Clove, by the way. All right, it's not Clove, but it's the park, you know. See, for me, the park, it's like Dante's Purgatory, not Dante's Inferno, because that would be exciting. You would meet some really interesting people. But I mean, day after day of whose turn is it on the swing? Couldn't we just let them duke it out? I mean, I used to go into an office, like in a building. I used to be a type A personality. Okay, fine, B-, but still. Look, I know that he's a boy, and you gotta take him outside. They will not play Scrabble, okay? They'll throw the pieces at the cat, and they won't miss because they're boys. And, well, you know, you can't just let dad take him to the park because, hey, where's mom? Working? He'll be in therapy the rest of his life. Harry, no, honey, no, put the little girl down. No, put her down, babe. Put her down and use your words. Not those words. Hey, remind me to cancel showtime.
Excuse me, is anybody sitting there?
No.
I love your diaper bag.
Yours too. Oh, don't worry about this. It's Clove.
Dakota, just a little boy, go away. Do not let him do that with your Barbie. Must be one of the nanny's kids, but I think it's good ours get to negotiate with all kinds, don't you?
And because hell's not an issue for me, I say, sure.
Hi!
Hi!
Lower register is completely shot the minute the baby drops.
I love your diaper bag.
Yours too.
Say, can Dakota have a play date with Orleans today?
The play date. Don't they have enough fun at the park? The play date is like the park only in your house. And the play date for a boy is like, I've already broken all of my stuff. Now I get to break yours too. Still, I kind of hope they invite us.
How's 12?
Oh, great. I can make gyrotonics.
I can make gin and tonics.
I just pray these two sleep through the night so I have the energy for class.
I hope you're going to Ferberize them.
You know, Ferberize. Now, is that the sleep book that says if she cries, don't pick her up? Like ever? Like just let her scream while you watch Stephen Colbert?
It's about self-soothing.
I wish we'd Ferberize Dakota. I can't even get her off the pacifier.
Well, have you tried sugar on your finger?
Well, let's do a play date at our house. They can do a art project with the nanny.
Great. Ours is hopeless at art.
Oh God, me too. Ugh, I suck at art. Costumes, masks, to me, paper mache, all of it just looks like vomit.
Well, will you look at the time? Dakota, take back your doll and tell the little boy goodbye. Dakota, do not use a sippy cup. Do not use a sippy cup.
Don't touch that sippy cup.
Dakota!
Drop that sippy cup.
He's probably not even vaccinated.
Damn it, Harry. Just take your sippy cup back and give back the Michelle Obama Barbie.
Well,
Great diaper back.
Bite me. Man, I love my kid, but sometimes I just wish that we'd met under different circumstances. Really, the only upside to all of this is him. So here's what they don't tell you and what to expect when you're expecting. Expect that people you don't even like will hopefully invite you to birthday parties. And expect that you will give up smoking eventually, because you can't bear to breathe secondary smoke on him. Expect to be unable to open letters from UNICEF or Greenpeace or even Smile Train, because it's his world now. Expect to cry in the aisles of Rite Aid, because if he's sick, and then you'll end up praying to a God that you don't believe in to make him well, just to make him a happy and healthy kid, and a Democrat, a real one. Hey, Harry, let's go, babe. Let's go get a donut. Above all, expect to come back to the park tomorrow with juice boxes and cookies and fucking bake them if you have to. See you tomorrow.
First day of school.
6 hours to myself for the first time in a decade. Somebody pinch me.
I'm supposed to drop my daughter off in front of the school and not go inside. This is what they tell me in the letter.
I tell Katie, when you get to the front door, baby, you wave and I'll catch your wave and you catch my wave.
What do you mean I can't go into my kid's school? Jessica's 4 years old. If I want to walk her in, that's my prerogative. I'm her mother.
And she says, Mama, don't forget to catch my wave. I'm going to wave real big to you.
My son Peter sneezes. I wonder if he's catching a cold. I make him get on the bus anyway.
Katie gets to the door and all these kids are surging into the school and she disappears. She's gone. No wave, nothing.
Then I go running up to my bedroom and I take off all my clothes. I text my husband. Darling, there's a naked woman in our bed. What you gonna do about it?
I march into that school past this mother who's waving like crazy, like she's landing an airplane. And the principal says to Jessica, "Hello, my dear, why don't you come with me?" My dear, my ass, she's not going with him. But Jessica lets go of me and takes his hand.
My father-in-law texts me back. Sounds good to me.
5 minutes later, I'm still standing there outside the school. The kids have all gone in, but I'm still waving at the door. I swear I am. Till a mother comes over to me and says, "You get over it." She's really young and I know she means well, but I still tell her, "Lady, this is my 5th child who just walked in there, and I will never get over it."
I pick up Sammy at Lois Baum's house. He plays with her daughter Amy on Thursdays when I work late. And as he's putting on his boots, Lois pulls me aside and she says, Purim is in a few weeks, and the kids want to get dressed up in costumes for the Migala reading at Temple. And I say, oh, okay, great. We'll have to get something. And she says, listen, I don't know how to tell you this, but your son already has something in mind. He wants to go as Queen Esther. He told me he wants to wear a wedding dress. Look, she says, we don't know each other that well, but I love my pediatrician, and he might be very good for you right now. He's very empathetic. So she hands me a piece of paper with the doctor's telephone number on it, and Sammy and I leave. Now, when Sammy was 3, he wanted to wear a Cinderella dress from the Disney store. It was like 2 shades of blue with a little cap sleeve. We told the sales clerk it was a birthday gift for a little girl in his class, but when we got home, he put it on. He wore it every night for 3 weeks, and then I shredded it in the washing machine. He never mentioned the dress again, and neither did I. Now, when he was 5, my mother bought him a Buzz Lightyear costume for Halloween. He begged me to take it back and buy him a Sleeping Beauty dress. I couldn't. All this time, Sammy's father is trying to find Sammy a sport. Every other weekend, he's all over Sammy. This is how you throw a football. This is how you get a forehand or hit a forehand. This is how you dribble a basketball. You know, Sammy's coming home with a broken finger, a twisted ankle, a bloody nose, but he never complains. So I call up Sammy's father and I say, could you turn down the ESPN lessons? Because, and then he laughs at me. He says he likes it. He's going to be the next Derek Jeter. And I think, yeah, if Derek Jeter likes to wear black dress and pearls. So after my conversation with Lois, I decide to skip Purim altogether this year. I tell Sammy we're going to bake hamantashen and go visit Grandma. Sammy loves to bake, and he says fine. So the costume thing goes away. A few days later, Sammy comes home with a big, huge black and blue mark on his arm, and he tells me he walked into an art cabinet. I get a phone call from his teacher. Sammy isn't participating in class anymore. Sammy's getting into fights. Sammy's sitting by himself at recess. Then I get a call from Sammy's father. Sammy won't eat. Sammy looks miserable. Sammy's not happy. Then the son of a bitch says we should revisit our custody agreement because it's obvious something's not right. And I hang up on the son of a bitch, which probably isn't a good idea because he could hold that against me in court. That night, as Sammy's getting into the bed, I say, hey, buddy, I got a call from Mrs. McCarthy. She says you're not being yourself. And he asks, what's being myself? And I say, being the way you are deep down, a good kid, a confident kid, a happy kid. And he says, Mommy, I just don't feel like myself right now. And I say, you don't feel like yourself. He says, no, I don't feel like me. Now, this kid is 7 years old. And I'm listening to what I think is a bunch of psychobabble he's heard on the radio, but he continues. He says, you know what would help? What, Sam? A barrette in my hair. A barrette. Yes, that and a pair of high heels. I want to dress as Queen Esther for Purim. Why Esther? Why do you want to be Esther? Because the king was going to kill the Jews, and Esther told him if he did that, he'd have to kill her too. And the king loved Esther more than anybody. Well, can't you call as Mordecai, Esther's cousin? He was there. But she was the one willing to sacrifice everything to change the king's mind. Mama, she did the right thing. I couldn't sleep all night. My kid really wants this, and if I pass judgment on him, what's everybody else going to say? So I go to the Disney store and I buy him the Sleeping Beauty dress, pink sparkle fake organza, and I have it waiting for him when he gets home from school, and he runs upstairs and he puts it on and he calls me to come look at him, and he looks great. It looks like him, the way he's supposed to be, like a girl. So that night we walk into a temple and there are maybe 400 people looking for seats. All of the girls are dressed like Sammy and all the boys are dressed like Mordecai with the ninja swords and the headbands. And right away, anyone who recognizes Sammy stares. Now, I just look straight ahead. I don't make eye contact with any of them. Meanwhile, Sammy's having the time of his life. He's spinning in his dress. He's comparing heel heights with a little girl. Well, now there are no seats left, so we have to sit in the front pew. And I start praying, dear God, please give me a sign that I didn't screw him up by allowing him to do this. Now, I hear people behind us whispering, and I think maybe Sammy can take it, but I can't. So we have to get out of there. But the service starts and we're trapped. Now the woman next to me gets a good look at Sammy, and I hear her whisper to her husband, look at that little boy. He's wearing a dress. A dress. And I look over at Sammy and the beret has fallen into his lap. And he's pulling on the elastic because the sleeves are too tight on his arm. Do I look all right, Mama? Tell me the truth. And I can feel him shaking. He heard what that woman said next to us. He hears people whispering behind us. So, I just pick up his beret and I clip it back in his hair and I put my arm around him. And I could feel him relax into me. He fits right inside my waist near my hip. And we are one again, me and him. We are Esther and the king. And we are invincible.
Sometimes when they meet my daughter, people say,
why, hello, what's your name?
And my daughter tells her name, Cleo. That's her name, Cleo. And then sometimes these people say to me,
she's so beautiful.
And I say, thank you.
Where is she from?
China, I say.
Are you teaching her Chinese?
Somehow this is a big concern to everyone, that I teach my daughter Chinese. No, I say.
Oh.
Not yet.
Oh.
Sometimes if this person has an adopted daughter from China herself, she says,
do you teach her anything about China?
And I say, yes, of course. We have thousands of books about China and Chinese art on the walls, and we watch Mulan all the time. And then because I still feel bad, what kind of a bad mother would adopt a kid from China and then not teach her Chinese? Mandarin is the actual appropriate response, Mandarin. I sometimes say, my son, I have a son, Cooper, who is 12, and he's biological. And, if we taught my daughter Chinese, but didn't teach Cooper Chinese, then it would be like he's our biological kid and she's our Chinese kid. And we just didn't want to do all that. This answer inevitably gives people all sorts of permissions.
Your son is biological.
Yes.
You have a biological child, but why did you adopt?
Okay, I hate this question. And by this point, I just about hate this person, but oh well, what can you do? Everyone's always so nice. It's just something that we wanted to do.
Do they get along?
What?
Your son and your daughter, do they get along?
Okay. Do your son and daughter get along? Would you say this to anyone from a normal family? Wait a minute. My family is a normal family. Yes, they get along most of the time.
Well, isn't that great? Did you go to China to get her?
Where else would we get her? She's Chinese. Yes, we did.
Did your son go with you?
Yes, he did.
Well, that must have been a wonderful experience for him.
Actually, He got kind of sick of it. There was a point when Cooper actually refused to get off of the bus. We went to this famous Chinese museum and they had all these cool dioramas of Lord Bao, who was a famous court advisor to some emperor. And Cooper was so sick of being dragged all over China in a bus with 20 stressed out parents and 10 freaked out Chinese babies that he actually just said, "No, I refuse to get off the bus." Those were his words. I refused. I had to then get back on the bus and tell him that if he didn't get off of this damn bus right now, then we would not be buying him any Yu-Gi-Oh cards when we got to Guangzhou, a city where we had been told the streets were paved with Yu-Gi-Oh cards. This threat actually got my sweet son to get off of that stupid bus. Yes, he loved it.
Well, isn't that interesting? A biological child and an adopted Chinese daughter. Well, good for you. Good for you.
Thank you. This is what kids say.
He can't be her brother.
Of course he's her brother.
They don't look alike. How can he be her brother?
She's adopted.
Adopted? What does that mean?
Okay, who are the parents out there who have not explained adoption at this point? And could I please have a word with you? Could you please maybe explain to your kids that families come together in different ways and that not all babies come out of the tummies of their mommies who are their real mommies? Could I not be expected to explain to this strange child on a playground in front of my own child who gets a little confused and freaked out when kids say things like this in front of her? You know what? Maybe you should go ask your mommy about adoption.
I know what adoption is. It means you're not her real mom.
Go away. Go away.
Your daughter is from China, but your son is biological. So it's not that you're infertile.
I don't want to talk about my fertility with mere strangers.
Your daughter is Chinese, but your son is biological. How is that working out for you?
We're the same as every other family.
Well, actually, no, you're not.
There was a day when Cleo told me that she worried about all of the other babies in China. She was 4 at the time, and she was worried that their parents would not find them the way that we had found her. So I told her that the Chinese government was very good, very efficient, and that they knew how to get the right babies to the right parents, which made her feel better. But I did realize that she thought that that was where all babies came from, orphanages in China. And I worried about this for weeks. And my husband finally said, "What are you so worried about?" And I said, "I'm going to have to tell her that some babies come out of their mother's stomachs, and that in fact, her brother came out of my stomach and she did not. She came out of another woman's stomach in China. And don't you think that that will upset her?" And my husband said, "Well, no babies come out of my stomach, so I've never really thought about it." I did tell her that sometimes babies come out of their mother's stomachs. She thought that that was hilarious, and she laughed and laughed. So I said, "Yes, that is very funny, but you know what? Your brother came out of my stomach," which gave her pause. And then she said, "I wish I came out of your stomach." So we talked about it for a little while, and then she went off to play. And then that night, when I was putting her to bed, she said to me, "You know what I wish? I wish that Cooper came from China. And I said, yes, that would be the other way to level the playing field. But whether or not you came out of my stomach, you are my baby bird, and I am your mother. Which somehow seems to work for her and me and her brother and her father. It really does.
Unfucking believable. First words out of his mouth. Have you been a good girl for mommy? Why am I surprised? They all say it. Waitresses, salespeople. Where's your mommy? Is daddy giving mommy a break? Why should Santa be any different? But instead of pretending I didn't hear it, I turned to him and yell, "Hey, fat boy, she doesn't have a mother." Okay, actually, I say nothing. I've got this thing with confrontation. I once had to see a therapist to help me break up with my other therapist. Besides, is it really my job to educate them all? I never asked to be the poster boy for gay parenting. I just wanted a child. Growing up, it was never a question I'd get married and have a family. It wasn't until I was 12 and my father couldn't get us tickets to Annie and I started hyperventilating on the kitchen floor that it became clear that I probably wouldn't be marrying a woman. When my partner Steve and I decided to take the leap into parenthood, we'd been together 8 years. That's like 56 in hetero time. Our gay friends reacted in their typical low-key demeanor. A baby? What are you thinking? You own a suede sofa from Armani Casa. The straight folks were also supportive in their way. One of them actually said, "Isn't it hard enough to raise a child in a normal family?" We crossed her off the godmother list. The first thing we had to do was find an egg donor and a surrogate. It's preferred if these are two different people. The agency we were working with soon matched us with a potential surrogate, Donna. A perky lesbian from Simi Valley, healthy, a mother of 2. Her profile said she wanted to help gay people become a family so she can show her kids the brave new world they live in. So we have this very bizarre first date at Starbucks with Donna and her girlfriend and basically try to cover everything in 2 hours. Where'd you go to school? Would you abort in the event of Down syndrome? Oh, we love Xena Warrior Princess too. 6 lattes later, we're all jittery and love each other and agree to move forward. Next, it's time to begin our egg hunt. Every night, Steve and I look at photos and read profiles. I fight for looks, he fights for brains. I remind him we live in Los Angeles. When our child isn't asked to her senior prom, he can sit in her room with her and do calculus. And just when we're convinced there isn't a candidate with the genetic makeup good enough for us, we find her. Donor 6247. A month later, 16 eggs are extracted from this angel, and as per the agreement, we never see or hear from her again. Steve and I are then called to the fertility center to do our part. We are escorted to separate deposit closets, or masturbatoriums. You get the idea. And this nurse hands me a specimen cup the size of a big gulp and tells me, no water, no spit, no lube, go. I start sweating. 2 minutes later, Steve knocks on the door to tell me he's finished, and I tell him I'm freaking out and I need a little support. He tells me to hurry the fuck up because our meter's almost out. What a good father he'll be. But the threat of a parking ticket does the trick, and I quickly finish up. 72 hours later, we pick one lucky egg to transplant into Donna's womb, and then we hold our breath for 10 very long days. I'm at work when Steve calls. He's crying. Now, Steve cries when he watches a Little House on the Prairie rerun, so I'm not sure if we're pregnant or if Pa burnt down the barn. But then he gets it out. He says we did it. We're having a gaby. We swear to each other that we won't tell anyone for 3 months. We tell everyone that afternoon. We talk to Donna at least 2 times a day. She is the most amazingly responsible person I know, yet every night visions of her doing bumps of crystal meth at some rave party dance in my head. When we visit her, I sneak into her kitchen and go through her garbage to make sure there aren't any empty cans of mercury-tainted tuna fish. I read on the internet that oral sex may cause air embolisms that could result in spontaneous abortions, which I try to work into casual conversation. It's a long 9 months. But we're in the home stretch. And my latest fear is what happens when the moment this baby is born. I want to make sure the doctor knows to hand the baby to Steve and me, not our surrogate. I become obsessed. We need to bond with the baby instantly. The baby comes to us. So, the big day arrives. Donna, her girlfriend, Steve, and I sit in this hospital room. The nurses tell us everything looks good, nothing to do but wait. 4 hours later, the contractions are a minute apart, and Donna's allowed to start pushing. At this point, my inner asshole comes out, and I whisper again to the obstetrician, "The baby comes to us." Now, Donna originally had wanted us to stay up at her head while the baby was being born, which was fine with me. Saw one of those things in the 90s. Never need to see it again. Ugh. But when the baby starts crowning, she yells, "Get down there, you can't miss this." And as always, she's right. Steve actually helps catch our daughter as she's being delivered. Then the nurse wraps her in a blanket, and I hold my daughter for the first time. I look up and I see Donna watching us, sweaty, snotty, tears running down her cheeks. And once again, all plans out the window. I instantly hand the baby over for her to hold, as it should be. She wanted to make us a family, and she did. Sometimes we don't feel so different from everyone else. And other times it's, "Where's your mommy?" And as I look at my now 3-year-old daughter, I realize it's my turn to show my child the brave new world she lives in. So, as she gets off Santa's lap, I turn to him and say, "Hey, buddy, there is no mother. She doesn't have one. She just has 2 people who love her more than anyone ever could, and that's her daddy and her papa." My daughter pipes in, "That's what makes me special." And I think it couldn't get any better. But then I hear the little girl behind us burst into tears. And when her mother asks her what's wrong, she says, "I only have a daddy. I want a papa too." Brave new world.
Charlene missed 3 days of school last week on account she had the flu. She comes home after her first day back and I say, "So what'd you miss?" And she says, "Daphne put a condom on a banana."
I hear Landon listening to Eminem on his computer, and I walk into the room and I hear the word clitoris.
So I say, "Was this at lunch?"
So I think, is this a teachable moment?
She says, "Ma, don't be stupid. It was sex ed. And I heard the condom broke."
I ask him, "Do you know what a clitoris is?" And he says, maybe.
I take my daughter Serena for her first bra fitting, and the woman says, "We should come back later when Serena has something to offer." Those were her exact words, "to offer."
So I ask, did they give her another condom? Did they let her try again? Just because the condom broke doesn't mean she shouldn't use one. And Charlene says, "Ma, relax. It's a banana, not a cock." "A cock," she says.
How do you explain the source of a woman's sexual pleasure to a 12-year-old boy?
Well, so I pull this jerk saleswoman aside and I say, "Honey, I know they're small, but she's only 11. Can you show a little enthusiasm?"
So I buy a bunch of bananas and a package of condoms.
So I do 5 minutes on clitorises, making sure to mention all 8,000 nerve endings, and he says, "Okay, thanks, you can leave."
Trojans are on special, 2 for $1.
I don't care. These work, right?
I tell the saleswoman I'll pay you whatever you want to make her feel good about her breasts. They're little, they're perky, they're great. Say it. They're great.
They're great, but a lot of women tell me they like the twisted pleasure or the fire and ice ones.
It's for a banana.
What you've got is fine.
Finally, the woman digs out of the back of the drawer this little padded bra the size of a postage stamp and gives it to Serena, and her face lights up like a light bulb.
While Charlene's in the shower, I leave 1 banana and 2 condoms on her desk.
As I leave the room, I hear him call his friend Andy and say, "Hey, don't play M&M at home. Never, ever."
Charlene is still in the shower when Amanda, my 10-year-old, comes out of Charlene's bedroom eating the banana. She hands me the condoms and says, "I think these are Dad's."
I find this today in Noah's room. Brushes, soap, 4 remote controls. 4? No. Chicken drumsticks, drinking glass, the cat, lies. List of lies.
No, it isn't.
Victims of velocity, things Mom threw at us while in a fit of rage. A catalogue of madness.
Someone has to keep track. Ugh, this is gross.
Don't be scared, Habibti. It's easy. Peel off the paper on the back, then put it on your underwears, then fold the wings down over the
I
side.
know, Mom. I saw Rula do it 100 times. My God, I could float down a river on this thing. It's a friggin' raft.
Yalla, go lay down and rest and stay off of the space face.
Facebook, MySpace.
Whatever. My daughter, the middle one, she just get her period. Late start, Noha. She's 15. I get mine when I am 11. 11. Oof, worst day of my life. Anyway, tonight we're gonna have 50 people to the house for iftar dinner, and she get her period. I say now, in the middle of Ramadan, I need help cooking. She get her period just to get out of helping. I'm serious. My kids is very lazy. Rula, Romy, Nuha, they all sit in the same room on their laptops, sending each other messages on the tweet.
Twitter. We tweet on Twitter. Jesus.
What Jesus have to do with it? Go lay down. Sometimes when one of them leaves the computer on the My Face, I look at it to see what all my kids doing. We live in Las Vegas. I don't want them to turn into prostitutes and gamblers. But they good kids. And they surprise me, you know, like this year Noha wants to fast for Ramadan with the older kids. So cute. I tell her, no, Bibti, never while you're bleeding. And oh my God, I never seen her so hysterical. She crying. I don't want this. I hate this. It makes me dirty. I say, no, this don't make you dirty. Maybe make you crazy, but dirty, no. And she say, Quran says. I say, no, the book doesn't mean that. Listen, what is the period? The egg. It is the potential for life. It is, how you say? The energy of creation. So the body, she need time to remove this energy that she doesn't need anymore. So God gives time off for the body to rest and the soul to rejuvenate. God is very, very smart, okay? Once a month, a lady, she gets a mini vacation. God say, listen, go and have a hot bath and eat an ice cream and 2 pounds chocolate. Don't fast, don't pray, don't do nothing but relax. I'm telling you, God, she is a woman. Chicken drumstick at Rula on September 9 because she said something rude at kitchen table. Nobody knows what. The cat at Romy on October 9 for not picking up her poop. Remote control at Nuha on November 9 for changing the channel to Gossip Girl while Mom was watching Al Jazeera. See, there are very good reasons. September 9th, October 9th, November 9th. Oh, I see. This is no list of madness, it's just PMS.
Oh, come on.
Special note, due to mom's terrible aim, not one of these objects ever landed on its intended victim. Oh, really? I tell you a good story. One time, while I am 16 years old, I go to Nazareth to stay with my uncle's family for a few weeks. They live in an apartment on the top floor. And you know, I have big crush on my cousin Lace. Sounds weird, but it's natural. Everybody fall in love with their cousin. Anyway, I am on my period and I'm in my uncle's home. There is one very tiny bathroom with one very tiny trash can. Now, the bath is very big. And to wrap it in toilet paper, it becomes like soccer ball. Huge. Will fill up the whole trash can. So I just threw them out the bathroom window. A few days later, my uncle screaming, "Anisi, come here. You throwing your garbage into the neighbor's garden? Shame on you." They landed on the neighbor's head while he was in the garden picking mint.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
I was mortified, but my teta, my grandmother, she pulled me aside and said, "Good for you, Anisi. Sometimes you have to remind a man that without a woman suffering, they would not exist." She laughed for like half hour. She was like high priestess, this lady.
Mommy, can you make me some tea?
Be right there, Habibti. For the record, I don't have bad aim. I miss on purpose.
I loved a man who had 2 daughters. I met the girls one winter in a boatyard, his sail in a cradle on dry land. Beth, 14, stood behind him so I could hardly see her. Callie, 12, leaned over the boat's rail and called, "Anyone down there want to come up and help me?" I climbed the ladder. "Do you and my father kiss?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "Do you make out?" The pattern was set. She had a lot of questions, and I had a lot to answer for. While Duncan hadn't exactly left his wife for me, we were in a certain amount of gray area. It wasn't crystal clear they would have split up if I hadn't come along. I wanted the girls to like me. That's a lie. I wanted them to love me. I asked my mother, "How do I do it?" She told me, "Don't try to be their mother. Cook them dinner, make them everything they like, and let them help with the salad dressing." So I made steak and mashed potatoes, salad, chocolate cake. I lit candles and put out cloth napkins. Duncan mixed oil and vinegar before I could ask the girls, but even so, I thought we were doing all right. The dinner ended early. Beth had an asthma attack and had to go home. Callie and I took rides in my old car. I let her shift gears while I worked the clutch. She asked me to teach her to drive. "You bet, Cal, when you get older." We talked. She had a million questions. Why didn't I have children of my own? Why didn't I want to be a mother? To be a mother, you had to be stronger than I was, know more than I knew, be forever steady in a way I couldn't trust myself to be. I told Callie, "I guess I'm just not cut out to be a mother." She said, "You'd be a good one. You're a good stepmother." Beth called me her step monster. She wheezed gently, constantly, a little accordion of pain. Once I wrapped her in a blanket and she leaned into me. I held my breath, wanting everything to be better, to stay just like this. The wheezing got worse. One summer, Duncan's cousin got married. The whole family went to the wedding. As we walked in, I saw the girl's mother. I grabbed Duncan's hand, but the girls ran toward her, pulling him with them. They stood in a tight knot, Duncan, the girl's mother, and the girls facing inward. I started toward them, but I couldn't see an opening. Beth stared across the tent at me, not with triumph, not with hate, just fear. Just the look of a young girl telling me that if I walked over, everything she loved in that moment in her whole life would stop. I felt shut out and illuminated all at once. They were each other's family, and I was just so tired of trying to force my way in. The next week, I taught Cale how to drive a stick. And then I moved out. This afternoon, Cale called me from the emergency room. She's old enough now, she's gotten her license, had an accident, asked me to come get her, and I did. She has 2 black eyes and stitches on her forehead. They let her leave with me because she told them I was her stepmother. She asked to spend the night at my house to put off telling her parents about the car. I want her with me, but I know she needs to be with the people who have been with her forever, even before the beginning. I told her she couldn't stay. And I felt it dissolve, the dream of myself being something like her mom. I love her. So much so, I'd do anything for Cale, even send her home to her mother. Even that.
My son tells me that a girl in his English class has agreed to go to the movies with him on Friday night, and I managed to say, oh, cool, in the most relaxed, unconcerned, hey, it's your life, not mine kind of way. I get her name out of him, but not much more, so I check out her picture on his Facebook page, and oh, she's actually kind of cute. Oh, and look, she commented on one of his statuses. Ha ha, LOL. What a doll. I love her already. At bedtime, I pop a Xanax along with my calcium and wonder if Michael's as nervous about this date as I am. God only knows. I seriously doubt that he'd talk to me about his feelings. He's male, he's a teenager, and he's autistic. The perfect trifecta for emotionally shutting out your mother. Friday night. Michael puts on a button-down shirt, and I blow dry my hair, dust on a little makeup, add a spritz of perfume, and spend an hour trying to find something to wear that doesn't make me look fat. I beam at Chloe when we pick her up. Hey there, how are you? So good to meet you. Yeah, that's my mom, Michael mutters. They sit side by side in the back seat, and I can't stop glancing at them in the rearview mirror. Talk about cute. It's like having 2 puppy dogs back there. I drive them to the cinema. Hey, look at me. I am dropping off my son and his date. His date. Maybe this is the beginning of a whole new era for us. You see, Michael was diagnosed with autism when he was 3. He couldn't talk or make eye contact, and he flapped his arms all the time. I'd say it was miraculous that he could go to a regular high school, but I know all of the billions of hours of speech and behavioral therapy it took to get him there. And now he's on his first date. I'm waiting at the movie theater forever. I got there way too early, but they're finally coming outside, and I see them walking side by side, heading towards the car. And I'm trying to read their expressions, but I can't really tell. All I can see is that they're not actually talking to each other at the moment, and that can't be a good sign, but maybe it's not a bad sign either. Maybe it's a companionable silence. When they get in the car, I ask how the movie was. Chloe says she liked it. Michael said it sucked. He says that the lead actress in it sucked, and so did the music and the directing. Chloe says the actress was really good. No, Michael says, that actress sucked. That actress always sucks. Chloe says, no, she doesn't. She's been in lots of good movies. Michael says, you're wrong. They're all bad, and starts to list each and every movie the actress has ever been in, every one of which, you guessed it, sucked. I can see the expression on Chloe's face start to change in the rearview mirror, and my heart sinks. To each his own, I cut in desperately. So, Chloe, tell me, what does your dad do for a living? She says he's a lawyer. Oh my God, my dad is a lawyer too. Isn't that just an amazing coincidence? Now, Michael, the kid who never makes eye contact, shoots me a disgusted look in the rearview mirror. So, who's ready for some frozen yogurt? With too many toppings, let's just go make ourselves sick. But Chloe says that she promised her parents that she'd go straight home after the movies, and just shakes her head when I offer to call them. We get to her house, and she jumps out of the car and then quickly thanks us before slamming the door and racing away. I probably should have kissed her goodnight, Michael says. Oh, I'm not so sure, I say. Why did you talk so much? That was embarrassing. I was trying to help you make conversation. I didn't need your help. You ruined everything. No, you ruined everything. And instantly, I try to take it away. Oh my God, Michael, honey, I'm so sorry. No, I didn't mean that. You did fine. It was fine. Really, really, she probably just needed to go home, like she said. He's silent, and I grip the steering wheel hard and pretend that I have some control over where we're going.
Three days before graduation. 3 days.
My son's giving the valedictory speech, and I know he hasn't written it yet.
Sonia says she's not going to graduation.
Bridget tells me she wants to wear a bikini under her graduation gown, a little string thing.
Eric spends all day at the beach. He goes out with his friends at night.
Does it have to be a bikini? I ask. Half the stuff you wear doesn't cover your ass anyway. Where's some of that?
Has Eric written a speech yet?
No, and don't bug him.
The first one on both sides to graduate high school, and she won't go. I beg her, I plead with her. She says, no way, you're making too big a deal.
I start getting phone calls from the other mothers. Am I letting Bridget wear a bikini under her gown? Whose side am I on? Well, Jesus Christ, I gotta pick a side?
Has Eric written his speech yet?
No, and don't bug him.
I've been cooking for 3 weeks. I've got 65 people coming.
I get an email from the principal forbidding the girls to wear bathing suits under their gowns.
Should have made him write it last week.
This whole thing is driving me crazy.
This is crazy.
Crazy. The night before the graduation, Eric comes in my room and says he has no idea what to write.
I wake her up in the middle of the night and I say, you tell me why you won't go. Tell me, did you do something bad?
Has Eric written his speech?
I'm working on it.
Are they holding you back? She says, don't be stupid. Then what? I ask. Tell me, please. She says, you're all just too damn loud.
I ply him with Coca-Cola until finally around 2 a.m. he gets an idea and writes 3 completely different speeches. He reads them to me at dawn, and each one is brilliant. Brilliant.
So we make a deal. She'll go to her graduation if Pappy and I go alone. Then next morning, I tell everybody else not to come.
After breakfast, I tell Bridget, I'll make you a deal. You can wear a bikini under your graduation gown if I can wear a thong under my miniskirt.
Eric's speech was called The Virtues of Procrastination.
She wore a dress.
Happy and I go alone to Sonia's graduation, and we sit there, and when they call her name, I take out my cowbell and I ring it. Tough on her. It's good, isn't it? My son, this is his. And this is how we talk to each other. What?
What?
What? And it wasn't a phase. I like this part here. My husband and I were married for 10 years before our son was born, and we became parents. Proud, careful, older parents. We were a threesome, a dynamic threesome. And despite all my ridiculous overprotection, like my neighbor bought her son a skateboard and just let him ride it. I bought my son a skateboard and ran alongside it. Despite things like that, my husband was patient and my son kept going. He created a world of his own, a musical world. This was the sound in our house from 7th grade on. This was the backdrop for everything else. School, friends, broken hearts, summer jobs, applying to college, selecting a college, and suddenly, wow, we were loading the van. His guitar was the last thing he packed. The three of us drove up to school, 2 parents in front, 1 young man in the back. We moved him in, drawers filled, beds made, posters up, his guitar and his amp next to his desk. We met his roommate. Hello, hello. And then it was time to say goodbye. I didn't want to cry. I had worked on that. 10 months in therapy his senior year. I wanted to hug him and give him a smile and let the tears come on the way back, which they did. It was a highway of tears, which sounds like a song. And then we were home, and then we heard this. But quiet. I thought I was prepared. But there was his old Converse sneakers by the front door, his guitar magazines on the steps to his room, his socks on the landing, his toothbrush in the bathroom, his toothbrush. He left his toothbrush, I yelled to my husband. I must bring it to him.
There are pharmacies in Rhode Island.
My husband said, which is the case. I checked. My son is now 20 years old, a sophomore, and he's doing fine. School's good, band's good, friends are good. And I'm fine. But still, sometimes I hear myself talking out loud. How are you, sweetie? I'll say. Do you need anything? Then I'll wait.
What are you waiting for, honey?
My husband asks quietly. I'm waiting, I guess, to stop waiting, I say, and my husband says.
You don't seem to want to do that.
That's what I say. It's taking a while, that's all. It seems to be taking a while.
It's a pretty bridal shop.
Oh, yes, I think it's the nicest. We've been to all of them.
First for me. Who are you waiting for?
My daughter, she already picked out some dresses.
Oh, my daughter-in-law is meeting me.
Your daughter-in-law included you? Wow.
Lorraine's a lovely girl. Best thing that's ever happened to our son. He says it all the time. Best thing ever.
My son-in-law is a doll.
Lorraine's a baker.
He's an attorney.
We are so lucky.
We are.
I'm never going to see my son again, am I?
Probably not.
Oh, is there anything I can do?
Well, there's a few things.
Oh, help me. please?
Rule number 1, her space, miles of it. You've got advice you want to give her, write it down and then burn it. Rule number 2, she knows your son better than you do. She thinks that, he thinks that, now everybody thinks that. Get used to it. Rule number 3, everything she does is fine with you.
She makes chocolate chip cookies with happy faces on them.
You love those cookies.
She wears knee socks with her dresses.
You love those knee socks.
I don't think I like her, but I want her to love me.
Good luck.
Well, there must be something I can do. I love my son.
He's hers now.
You know this.
I know it for a fact.
How?
How often does your husband see his mother?
I'm gonna be different. She's gonna love me a lot.
You go, girl.
You'll see.
She did invite you here.
Lorraine doesn't know I'm coming.
What?
I overheard her telling a friend about the appointment, and I thought I'd surprise her.
Oh my God.
Oh, well, what should I do? I mean, she'll be here any minute.
I told you what to do.
Now? That starts now.
Rule number 1.
Torch my advice.
Rule number 2.
I don't exist.
And if you don't exist,
I'm not here.
right.
Well, to hell with the rules. They're archaic. They perpetuate the lack of communication between daughter-in-laws and mother-in-laws. They're bullshit.
Oh, look. A blonde wearing happy face socks just walked in.
Bye.
Day before he left for Afghanistan, we got the same tattoo. A small blue star on our right shoulder. Probably seems like a weird thing for a mother and son to do together, or so my ex loves to tell me. That's not right. No mother and son should be getting tattoos like that. But then he didn't raise him, so what does he know? Last time Brian was home on leave, he told me, Mom, I seen things. And that made me really sad because, well, because you want to know the world your boy has seen, you know? You want to see it first. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to be the one to always go first into the dark, make sure there's nothing scary there. And if there is, you want to be the one to make it safe. So it's just frustrating that you can't do that, because that's what a mother does. And knowing you can't, well, that is hard. But as my ex says, Brian's a grown man and you should be proud. Well, I am proud, so proud. I am proud of all my children, but he's my soldier. Life on the line was never going to be good enough for him like it is for his daddy. Brian always wanted something more. He was never going to have no life of fixing windshield wipers onto trucks. After high school, Brian worked EMT for a while, but that still wasn't enough. Then one day he called me up, so happy. I found my calling, Ma, he said. I joined the army. I'm going to serve my country. Well, I just about fell off my chair. All I could think of was, we are at war. You're going to have to go to war. He did 3.5 months of basic training at Fort Carson and was gone. Now, working EMT in Detroit is no piece of cake. That keeps a mother up at night. But it is nothing like this. Nothing like this at all. This is like constant, all the time, from waking to sleeping and sleeping too, because you're dreaming it. Half your time you spend trying to not look at the TV, at the newspaper. Other half of the time you're like, why does no one care? Where is everyone? Then one day, there's a knock on the door. I'm standing in the kitchen when it comes. I'm fixing dinner. I hear it. The doorbell, the knock. There's 3 of them. That's how they come in threes. 2 guys in dress greens and a chaplain. They come like that, you know. My name. They're saying my name. Then they're saying his name. Brian. What? Brian. I'm not prepared at all. I can't hear. There's water in my ears. I faint. I fall over. They tell me again, Brian. And that's when I rip their eyes out with my nails, with my teeth. I'm screaming. I want to go back in time. I want to stop time. But wait. Wait. This isn't real. It hasn't happened. I have to imagine it. So if it does happen, I'm prepared. My ex-husband laughs when I'm telling him. He laughs. You're being a damn fool, you know. Doting. Tattooing? Brian is 22 years old. He laughs at me. Well, you know what? F you. F you. Because you see, I will do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. I will tattoo my back with 22 stars, 1 for each year of his life. 23 stars, 24. I will tattoo and tattoo. 75 stars, 80 stars, and he will live that long. And he will live, and he will live. I will tattoo my back the whole night sky. And nothing bad will happen. And he will live. And he will come home. Hundreds of stars. And my soldier will come home.
David drops a hint to our daughter Galena that maybe she should do Thanksgiving this year. Her dining room is bigger than ours. She says, fine, she's game. She'll do it.
Isabel asks if she can bring her new boyfriend Carl home for Thanksgiving. And I say, of course. We're going to meet Carl. Get out the Linux.
I don't do big Thanksgiving. All that pilgrim crap makes me itch, so we do Chinese.
My son tells me he's not coming home for Thanksgiving this year. He's going to Cabo with a friend.
I decide Galena needs a little inspiration. So I take all my November issues of Food and Wine, starting from 1998, and my 3 Barefoot Contessa cookbooks, and my menu cards embossed with a little gold turkey, and I put them in a box.
The twins call and say they're not coming this year. They're going to a yoga conference.
Then Isabel tells me that I've got to buy organic sheets for Carl or he can't sleep in our house.
I rent 2 extra TVs and we paint our faces and watch football and eat chicken chow mein on the snack trays. And I'm in heaven.
My daughter's also not coming for Thanksgiving. She's going to her mother-in-law's.
I copy all my recipes, 23 pages, and put them in the turkey box along with my mother's carving set and the antique chocolate turkey molds. I just want to be helpful.
Nobody asks what Mommy's doing for Turkey Day.
Isabel tells me Carl's a vegan. It's okay for him to see the turkey meat, but not the bones. So we have to carve it in the mud room under a sheet.
After the last game, the kids will scatter like leaves and call me when they get home and say, Mama, that was the best Thanksgiving you ever made.
I'll make Thanksgiving next year. Or maybe I'll do a little one on Friday night after hers.
Nobody wonders if Mommy has any plans, which I think is hilarious.
Carl better be gone by Christmas.
Because Mommy's had a plane ticket to Paris since August.
After my divorce became final, I moved back in with my mom. As part of the settlement, my ex-wife got the house. Mom was living alone and she said, come and stay with me for a bit. It'll give you a little breathing space to figure out what you want to do with your life. So I did. She was standing on her doorstep when I pulled up in the car. The first thing she said to me was, I don't want to be called Betty anymore. I want to be called Elizabeth. That's my name, but everyone's always called me Betty. I don't know why. Elizabeth says something. Betty's just blah. I said, sure, Mom, I'll call you Elizabeth. And I hugged her hello. Shortly after, I realized that my mother barely went out. I said to her, why aren't you going out anymore? She brushed me off. I like staying home. You're not being truthful. What's going on? I'm a homebody now, Mom. And she got really upset. I can't remember anybody's names. I get into a room full of people and I go blank. It's too stressful. And I can't remember things people have said to me from one week to the next. Oh, I don't want to talk about it, Bobby. Please, subject closed. In the night, she tapped on my bedroom door. I'm sorry, sweetheart, how I shouted at you. I said, there's no need to apologize. You're frustrated. I understand. But I couldn't get to sleep thinking about it. Living at home, I noticed the first thing my mother did in the morning was turn on the TV, and the last thing she did at night was turn it off. And she was now participating in it. I walked in the house one evening and she was sitting in the armchair with her home phone in one hand and her cell phone in the other. I said, what are you doing with those two phones in your hand, Mom? Voting, she said. She had a slightly guilty look in her eye. What for? American Idol. Why do you need two phones? I'm voting for my David. I've got both phones on redial. I'm voting for him over and over. He's so talented, Bobby, and sweet. He's got to win. It's going to really upset me if he doesn't win. Mom, I said, do you have a little crush? She got all defensive. Don't be ridiculous, Bobby. I'm 51 years older than he is. Oh, so you've done the math. When you finished voting for your boyfriend, I have an idea I want to talk to you about. I sat her down to the kitchen table. Did you have lunch today? Of course I did. What did you eat? I had a cookie. You can't live on cookies and TV. Mom, I think you're vegetating a little bit. No wonder you feel like you're losing your memory. You don't use your mind anymore. When was the last time you read? I read, she said. What? What was the last thing you read? I read an article on whether Kirstie Alley's weight gain might be linked to Scientology. Mom, I have an idea. And don't just say no without considering it. I think you should go to night school. They have classes at the community college. There's one coming up on American short fiction. You used to love reading, and we have to get you on a better diet. I brought home some ginkgo biloba. It's good for the memory. All right, she said, whatever you think's best. I don't believe it, I thought. She's going to do it. I filled in all the forms and enrolled her as Elizabeth Barnes. I'm so happy I'm going to be Elizabeth again, she said. It feels like a fresh start. The first day of school arrived and I couldn't get her out of the house. We had an absurd showdown in the kitchen. Elizabeth, get in the car. Why are you calling me Elizabeth? I'm your mother. Call me Mom. You're going to be late for school. Please get your books and your bag and get in the car and don't make faces at me. I don't want to go to school today. I'll start tomorrow. Mom said, I've had a long day at work. Please get in the car. She had 3 hours of classes. I was a nervous wreck. I parked outside the college and sat in the car waiting until she came out. And at 9:30, she appeared, got in the passenger seat. Oh my goodness. I've got to read Sherwood Anderson's Winesburg, Ohio by Thursday. I haven't made it to the end of a book in 20 years, but I'm going to do it. I am, she said, and she patted my leg. I asked, how many people are in the class? She said, I don't know, 6, maybe 11, and didn't say anything else for the rest of the ride. The following evening, we were in the kitchen. She stood at the window looking into her yard. She went quiet for a long while and seemed to be floating out into another world. I asked, "What are you thinking about, Mom?" She said, "You know what I was just thinking, Bobby? I was just thinking I don't want people to call me Betty anymore. My name's Elizabeth. People called me Elizabeth when I was a girl, but as soon as I became an adult, I became Betty. I want to be Elizabeth again." "All right, Mom, I'll call you Elizabeth. Now sit up at the table and do your homework." I thought, I can't move out. I can't leave her on her own. She sat there reading, gently tapping her lip with a pencil. I made us some dinner. And when I glanced back at her, she was drawing cartoon birds in the margins of her notebook. Oh my God, I thought. I used to do that.
Great-grandmother? Great-grandmother?
What do you want?
I wanted to ask you about motherhood for my report. I've spoken to mother and grandmother, and now if I speak to you, that will be 3 generations of mothers.
Oh dear.
I don't need much. I only have a few questions.
I'm very old. It doesn't allow me to be superficial.
Yes, ma'am, that's fine. You are the mother of 7 children, 4 girls and 3 boys?
Yes, all of them.
First of all, what do you like most about being a mother?
I don't like being a mother.
You don't like motherhood?
Why? It's something I don't do well. I don't love all my children the same. People say you should, but I couldn't. 2 of them I didn't like. 1 I despised. The one I loved the most was quiet, never spoke, a calm person, except for the allergies and the asthma attacks. We took a train to New Orleans about those asthma attacks. The doctor scratched her back with needles and put on various serums to see what she was allergic to. It was legion, grass, pollen, dust, the sun, the sky, her own skin. She was my favorite. I cut her hair in a pixie cut. I cut all my children's hair in pixie cuts. Oh, not the boys, just the girls. The boys' hair was even shorter. The children do not like washing their hair. That is why they need less of it. Oh, and the tangles. I worried about knots and tangles. How do you feel about having children?
I haven't given it a lot of thought.
Do you use birth control?
No.
Well, why not?
Well, I'm 12 and...
No sex.
Oh, no, hell no.
Oh, when I was your age, we didn't have the option of premarital sex. Birth control was primordial. And through it all, I became very pregnant. Oh, I tried everything. The rhythm method, prophylactics, diaphragm, outside ejaculation, oral copulation, illegal abortion, abstinence. None of it worked. Now you have choice, many choices. I can't tell you what a different world.
Well, that's good.
Well, no, not entirely. Many terrible things are in this world. Apparently, civilization will end in an unfathomable and brutal fashion. In the meantime, I'm very happy for reliable birth control because we all want to be loved.
Yes, of course.
The happiest day of my childhood was when my own mother looked at me and said, "I forgive you, Cynthia." For what? I asked. Because you have come uninvited into this household. Uninvited, but eventually not unloved.
What did she mean?
Well, she meant eventually I was loved. Oh, that's what I hope for everyone. It is not inevitable, love. Did you know that, Helen?
No. I don't think I want children. I don't want to be a mother.
Well, good. You may decide as you like. I like your hair. How long it is, without tangles.
I don't really like short hair on me.
But no, why would you? You're young. How does it feel to be young?
I have a boyfriend, but he doesn't know.
Oh,
He's shorter than I am.
oh, that could change. Have you spoken?
I asked him what time it was. He said he wasn't wearing a watch, but he smiled at me.
Did you smile back?
I guess I did.
You did. Good.
I'm going to tell you this now while it's still fresh in my mind because I know how much time creeps up on you. How it's just one day becoming another, and then suddenly it's 35 years. And you won't believe that now because you're not even a month old yet, but wait. So I have to tell you this now because I need you to know what it was like the day, the hour, the very moment you were born. This is how it happens. Now, I'm eating a brisket sandwich with your daddy, and I'm doing my dead-on impression of the hippie yoga teacher that we just giggled through birth class with. And we laughed, and then, gosh, my water breaks. 1 minute, it's jokes and brisket, and then the next minute, we're driving to the hospital saying, but not believing, we're gonna be parents. I look at the car seat and it's government mandated 5-point harness, and I try to fill it up with the idea of you, but I fail. It's impossible. There's no way that this thing inside of me is a person. I mean, there are then hours and hours at the hospital for it to get more real. Contractions get bigger and closer together, and the monitors show your heart beating away, but still, it's impossible to believe. How will this happen? After the epidural, there's no pain to distract me anymore from the impossible task at hand. And it's 2 a.m., and your father is asleep in the vinyl chair, and I am alone with the beeping machines and the ice chips and the paralyzing fear. And this goes on for hours until at last I am dilated to 10 centimeters and they page the doctor. Now, he just breezes on in there right before 5 a.m., sipping a large latte and pulling on a crisp white lab coat over his worn t-shirt. Just another ordinary day in the office for him. He even had time to stop at Starbucks for a latte. And I can't stop shaking. The nurse whispers to the doctor, she's panicking. And he takes his place on the wheeled stool at the foot of the bed, his face framed by my trembling legs. And he places a hand on my leg, authoritative but gentle. Annie, here's what you're going to do. You're going to hold your legs up like this. And you're going to take a deep breath out. Oh yeah, and let it out. And then you're going to take another deep breath in and hold it. And that's when you push. Okay, push as hard as you can, push exactly like you're having a bowel movement. But don't worry, you won't actually have a bowel movement, you'll have a baby. Ready? Deep breath. Oh, of course, I know that this is coming. This is the moment when they tell me that it's time to push out the baby, but you have got to be fucking kidding me. Why don't you just tell me to speak Russian or fly? There is no way, no way. And still, I do it. I hold my legs back and I take a deep breath in and then I let it out. And then I take another deep breath and I hold it and I push as hard as I can and nothing happens. The doctor says, Annie, you aren't really pushing. You need to push with everything you've got. And I want to kick out his sweet, authoritative teeth. But I know this is how it's done, but I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't. And then I do it again. That's it, Annie. That's great. Now do it again. And I can't, but then I do it again and again until the doctor says, the baby is crowning. No more pushing, just relax. And I'm going to bring the shoulders out so you don't tear. And I'm going to hand her to you, but very gently because she's still attached inside of you. And here she comes, here she comes. And I'm still thinking, there's no way. There is no way. It is not a person. And then here she is. And oh my God. You are in my arms and you are a person, warm and wet with bones and hands and swollen little eyes that are darting back and forth. And you see me and I see you and we both cry. You, a dry, rhythmic little wail, and me, an overwhelming flood of love and relief. Hello, my darling. Hello, my baby. Later, they take you off for tests and your daddy, and you go along with him. And I have a moment to myself to just relive what happened. You landed on my chest and then you took your very first breath. And the morning sun moves across the vinyl floor of the hospital, and the next thought comes to me. If you could begin to breathe right before my eyes, then you could stop too. And as sure as you were just born, someday you're going to die, and it can be any second. A week later, my mother visits. And it takes her all of 5 minutes to piss me off. You know, she starts in with the passive aggressive questions like, shouldn't she have gained more weight by now? And are you sure that that swaddle isn't too tight for her? And then transitions into full-blown irrational diagnosis. She's jaundiced. She's lethargic. Mom, she's a newborn. She's tired. When she offers a ride to the emergency room, it gets ugly. Mom, I saw the pediatrician this morning and he says she's small, but she's fine. And we don't need the emergency room. And we don't need you here undermining my confidence. But before I can finish, my mother bursts into tears. You don't understand. You're still my baby. It hasn't been 35 years, it has been 35 minutes and you just came out. And I am sorry, but you're my baby. Later, I hold your tiny body in my arms and rock you in the glider until long after you fall asleep. I keep rocking until I'm not angry at my mother anymore. Now, I want to tell you this story now, even though you can't possibly understand it. But I want you to know why I love you so much more than you will be able to tolerate someday. Because however old you are, 10, 20, 70, there will still be a moment years ago that I'll never forget. When 1 second you weren't there, and then the next second you were. Life began, and I got to be there.